Hello, everyone, and good evening. Thank you all so much for being here tonight as we come together to celebrate and honor two extraordinary members of Montclair Kimberly Academy alumni community. Our 2025 Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, Jim Freidlick, class of 1975, and our 2025 Young Alumni Award recipient, Rob Pannullo, class of 2013. For those of you that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Gretchen Barra, and I've had the privilege of serving as MK's Director of Alumni Engagement, a role I have been lucky to hold now for about 5 years. I can honestly say nights like tonight are one of the very best parts of my job. It's an opportunity to pause, to reflect, and to celebrate the remarkable ways MK alumni are shaping their communities, their industries, and our world, making it better, brighter, and more inspiring for all of us. It is now my honor to introduce our head of school, Nigel Furlong, who will start our ceremony and share a bit more about the history and significance of these alumni awards. Following Nigel, you'll hear from Stuart Harwood, class of 2007, an MKA alumnus, and also our Alumni Council president, who will introduce this year's outstanding honorees, Jim and Rob. So without further ado, thank you, and please join me in welcoming Nigel Furlong.
Thank you, Gretchen. Good evening, everyone. As Gretchen said, it is an absolute pleasure to be here. We thank all of you here, obviously on the screen, and everyone tuning into the webinar for being here with us tonight to celebrate two extraordinary MKA alumni. Today, we honor our 2025 Distinguished Alumni Award recipient, Jim Freidlick, from the great class of 1975, and our 2025 Young Alumni Award recipient, Robert Pannullo, from the fantastic class of 2013. As Gretchen said, the Distinguished Alumni Award, it really recognizes an MKA graduate who has achieved distinction in some field or endeavor. Through outstanding character and dedication, they've been of special service to humanity. Beyond recognition for outstanding achievement, the Distinguished Alumni Award is a meritorious reflection on MKA that provides inspiration and encouragement. Jim, you are an exemplar for our community. The honors you've earned throughout your illustrious career in journalism have been groundbreaking and truly inspiring. Jim reflected on his time in MKA, saying, "MKA gave me the earliest training in both writing and journalism. We had a 10th grade English elective on both the craft and history of journalism. We watched historical CBS News coverage of Edward R. Murrow, taking down Senator Joseph McCarthy, an example of journalism fighting tyranny that still resonates with me today. Jim, your work has forever left a mark on the world. You have changed the paradigm of American news. We wish you continued success throughout the rest of your career." The Young Alumni Award is an award that recognizes an MKA graduate who has demonstrated significant service to MKA and or has made significant contributions to his or her profession and community. The purpose of the award is to recognize an alumnus or alumna who graduated from MKA within the past 15 years and whose accomplishments reflect a deep and inspirational commitment to the improvement of society. Robert, you showed exceptional talent as a student at MKA, at Cornell, and at Fordham Law, and now as an associate at Winston & Strawn LLP. You were named to Sports Business Journal's New Voices Under 30. A fierce advocate for players' rights, you were one of the youngest individuals to argue part of an MLB salary arbitration case. Your work reflects the skills and attributes embedded in MKA's mission. Rob is grateful for the education he received at MKA, noting that the MKA friends, teachers, and alumni who touched my life have left an indelible mark on my heart and soul and have contributed significantly to the person I am today. This accolade is not merely a professional achievement, but a reflection of core values like compassion, leadership, and commitment to positive impact that MKA has imbued in me. It underscores the belief that the principles of service and community extend far beyond our school's physical boundaries, shaping not just our careers, but the broader world around us. This award is testament to the collective spirit of the MKA community, a community that inspires us to look beyond ourselves to serve, inspire change, and improve society. Rob, we are so impressed with your ethical leadership and the impact you've already made on so many lives. Thank you both for being here. I'm going to turn it over to Stu Howard from the class of 2007. Stuart is the president of the MKA Council, which oversees the nomination process for these two important and illustrious awards. And he will further introduce the winners. Thank you all for being here, and thank you, Stu.
Thank you, Nigel. Good evening, everyone. My name is Stu Harwood, class of '07, and I am your Alumni Council president. It's a pleasure to be here with you all tonight to celebrate two extraordinary alumni. Starting with our distinguished alumni, Jim Freidlick, class of '75. Jim is a career news executive and philanthropist. He is CEO of the Lenfest Institute for Journalism, the parent company of the Philadelphia Inquirer, which is actually the largest American newspaper under nonprofit ownership, something very rare today. Jim has served as group publisher for the Wall Street Journal International and is co-founder of WSJ.com, which is the Wall Street Journal's online digital edition. He attended Dartmouth University, Wesleyan University, and Stanford's Graduate School of Business. Jim's wife, Melissa Stern, is an arts journalist and studio artist, and his son, Max, is a Broadway playwright. The council had received dozens of nominations for Jim, but I want to share a quote from his brother, Don, who is also an MKA alum, class of '73. There is a direct through line from the shrimpy, hyperverbal 12-year-old Montclair Academy 7th grader to the 67-year-old national leader in American journalism and philanthropy. He is largely the same guy, fun, informal, not at all self-important, and contagiously enthusiastic about his cause. I certainly take pride in my younger brother's business accomplishments, but what he brings me the most joy is his creativity, commitment, and impact with which he has given back to his field and our community. Henry Grunwald, former editor-in-chief of Time magazine, once said, "Journalism can never be silent. That is the greatest virtue and its greatest fault. It must speak immediately, while the echoes of wonder, the claims of triumph, and the signs of horror are still in the air." Jim, we thank you for not staying silent, for doing your part in growing and supporting the field of journalism and making sure there are outlets for all to shed light on where there can easily be darkness. It is my great honor to present you with the 2025 Distinguished Alumni Award.
Thank you so very much. Can you hear me okay? Just give a wave, Gretchen. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Furlong and Stuart Harwood, for those exceedingly kind words. Thank you, Brother Don, for your kind words and all your love as well. My thanks to Gretchen Barra and Madison Kilduff for organizing this wonderful event. And my thanks and congratulations to the family and the person of Rob Pannullo, class of 2013, from whom you'll hear in just a few minutes. I invited about a dozen people that I hold most dear in the world today, both family by birth and family by choice. Welcome to Don Freidlick, Bill Freidlick, Max Freidlick, Melissa Stern, my dear wife, Jim Ottaway, Nancy Robbins, Gordon Whitkin, my cousin Geraldine Laybourne, George Steinmetz, Lisa Bannon, both MKA parents and fellow journalists, Whip Hubley from my class and our class, television and movie star, and my buddy John Sanders. I went to Montclair Academy from 1969 to 1975, from age 12, yes, I was shrimpy, Don, to age 17. Throughout that time, my brother Don and I lived in Verona, New Jersey, with our parents and without guardians. Our mother had passed away in 1970. Our father, a kind of Mad Men era advertising and publishing executive in his own right, had flown the coop and moved to the city. The best way to describe me and my brothers circa 1970 was that we were feral boys. Think Romulus and Remus without the wolf. After Thanksgiving of 1972, our Aunt Katie referred to me and Don as, and I quote, having the table manners of canines dressed as boys. Aunt Katie's specific note to me was, quote, it is uncouth to steal food off your brother's plate, even if you have finished all of your food and he has not finished all of his. Against this backdrop, Montclair Academy brought extreme order to extreme chaos. To me, it was pretty much literally a shining city on a hill. It was disciplined, it was competitive, it was rules driven, but also just a little bit magic. It felt like we could be anything we wanted when we grew up. It was Hogwarts in North Jersey. No one could accuse Montclair Academy of being woke in 1970. We called our teachers master. The top graduation prize each year was the Head Boy Award. When Headmaster Philip Anderson ordered me once again to cut my hair, his sharpest criticism was, again, I quote, "You look like a pretty girl." We rebelled against the jacket and the tie, and Gretchen Barra just told me that that went away. The prohibition on long hair and the tsunami of test taking and homework. But Montclair Academy formed the basis of my navigating college, Dartmouth and Wesleyan, Stanford Business School, and a competitive career in publishing. When it's done well, publishing is a very creative business, but it's also highly structured. Spelling and grammar are either right or wrong. Great and succinct writing really matters. A deadline is a deadline. I learned all of that at Montclair Academy. As Mr. Furlong said, among the coursework at Montclair Academy, this was a teacher named Douglas Jennings, was an elective in American journalism, a kind of 10th grade master class on journalism fundamentals, who, what, where, when, why. It also introduced us to America's leading news practitioners. Edward R. Murrow, Woodward, and Bernstein each became kind of a different sort of rock star for me. Like a lot of people in the news business, I sometimes have trouble keeping my mouth shut. In 11th grade AP history class, Mr. Hemmeter deducted a full grade from my average. That is A down to B plus, because, quote, of Jimmy's inability or unwillingness to stop talking during class. He told me, Mr. Freidlick, no one is going to pay you just to talk all the time. This turns out demonstrably not to be the case. I've made a very fine living for my family and for myself and for lots of others by not shutting up. That's kind of the point of what we do in public service journalism. So much for AP American history. So it was with some mix of great gratitude and true wonder that I received word a few weeks back from Mr. Furlong that I was named Montclair Kimberly Academy's Distinguished Alumni for 2025, nominated by my brother Don. Distinguished is a really big word, and I don't feel it applies very well to me. That said, I sure know it when I see it. My longtime Wall Street Journal mentor, Jim Ottaway, who's on the Zoom, is truly distinguished. Jim bet on me in 1988 for a foreign assignment, and then as the head of global sales and marketing for the Wall Street Journal at age 32. For him, a huge gamble, and for me, something that changed my life. Jim allowed me to join the adventure of bringing the Wall Street Journal, then the greatest newspaper in America, in my humble opinion, to 3 continents and to over 50 countries, and we traveled together to almost all of them. Eventually, we became unlikely digital media pioneers, together founding thewallstreetjournal.com. It was especially gratifying for me to launch the first truthful, independent Russian business newspaper in Moscow in the mid-1990s with Jim Ottaway. Vedomosti, which means for the record, was shuttered by Vladimir Putin 20 years later. After 20 years in print, it's kind of a backhanded compliment to get your paper closed by Vladimir Putin. Most of the news staff still lives in Amsterdam and continues to report about Russia and Ukraine in exile. When Jim Ottaway, then the largest individual shareholder of the newspaper, fought Rupert Murdoch's lucrative takeover offer of the Wall Street Journal, he instilled in me the notion that editorial integrity and independence was worth much, much more than money. Jim Ottaway stood up to Rupert Murdoch. The world would be a much better place if more people did. He's the greatest newspaper publisher I know, so thank you, Jim Ottaway. My dear friend, Geraldine Laybourne, is genuinely distinguished as well. Jerry built Nickelodeon, the global children's television empire, virtually from scratch while living in Montclair, of all places. One day in 2016, Geraldine Laybourne introduced me to cable television mogul HF Jerry Lenfest. Jerry Lenfest put me in charge of the Philadelphia Inquirer and its groundbreaking nonprofit parent company, the Lenfest Institute for Journalism, launching a kind of new venture in a new model for the ownership of great American newspapers, which are badly in need of reform. This was a significant pivot for me. I was a capitalist, commercial news executive, and this launched a career in both nonprofit news and philanthropy. I'm deeply grateful to Jerry Laybourne. I come from a family of both newsmen and ad men. My big brother, Bill Freidlick, on today's Zoom, was a newspaper and magazine publisher before he became an architect and builder. In 1970, then 24 years old, Bill published a 5-day pop-up daily newspaper with circulation of over 50,000 at the May Day March on Washington in opposition to the Vietnam War. With hindsight, the newspaper was a kind of proto-social media. It instructed over 1 million protesters where to march and how to disrupt government. This was, at the time, I think maybe still the largest expression of First Amendment right to protest and the largest act of civil disobedience in US history. This made a huge impression on a 12-year-old future news publisher. We publish and something happens. My amazing cousin, Gordon Whitkin, is here today. Gordon is my brother from another mother, the son of the aforementioned Aunt Katie. Gordon is what we call a big J journalist, the winner of a Pulitzer Prize for two-fisted investigative journalism, as was his father, a New York Times veteran, as was his great uncle, a Broadway playwright. I never dared to steal food off of my cousin Gordon's plate. Nancy Robbins is here, well into her 90s, my dear surrogate mother, still beautiful, still sharp as a tack. I've never given up trying to impress you. Melissa and my extraordinary son, Max Wolf Freidlick, is here on Zoom from LA. Max grew up in a house filled with lots and lots of words and lots of stories, and it shows. Max has emerged as the best writer and the best storyteller of all of us, and that's a very high bar. And the love of my life, Melissa Stern, is still here after 48 years, holy moly. Melissa is a hugely gifted artist and arts journalist. She's created her own universe of artistic figures that live in her studio, in magazines, in books, in museums, and in art galleries around the country and around the world. Melissa has surrounded our family with love, with beauty, with endless creative energy in our loft in New York City, in our farm near Woodstock, New York. Thank you. Thank you, Melissa Stern. I love everything about you. Mr. Furlong asked me to reflect briefly on contemporary journalism. I promise to be very quick, like lead paragraph quick. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've never, ever, ever seen more challenges to the free press day to day, or to the basic adherence to the facts. Everything we hold dear depends upon some common understanding and appreciation of the truth. Education, public health, stable financial markets, climate, free and fair elections, gender and racial equity, and democracy itself. Fact-based reporting is in the crosshairs. In America, it is as bad as I've ever seen it, and it's in danger of getting worse. This is a real fire. This is not a drill. I hope that MKA can find ways to teach journalism and news literacy from a very early age and throughout K to 12. It sure did me a lot of good. And finally, a brief note for the MKA Alumni magazine. I think, Gretchen, that's your department. Nice earrings, by the way. I got a couple of notes in the chat about that. So just some real-time journalism here. My formerly feral brother, Don Freidlick, class of 1973, turned out very, very well indeed. Don is terrifically creative and accomplished. He is a glass and metal artist of global renown. Don is known as much for his kindness and mentorship to other artists as his brilliant artwork. Don was honored last year by MKA, inducted into the Montclair Kimberly Academy Arts Hall of Fame, as was movie actor Whip Hubley, who's from the class of 75 and also on this Zoom, as I mentioned. I appreciate this honor very, very much, more than I can say. I feel that I finally overcome the injustice and the stigma of only getting a B+ in AP American History. Thank you very much for listening, and Rob and your family, thanks for your patience. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim, and congratulations once again.
You bet.
Before we move on, I would like if we could take a minute and observe a moment of silence and honor Rob's good friend, Todd Marici. Todd, who was a member of the class of 13, was recently and unfortunately taken from us way too soon. He was known for his ability to help others, going the extra mile for those in need, a trait that he and Rob very much found in common. The MK community offers its sincere condolences to Todd's family and friends, and may he rest in peace. Thank you. As we move forward, it is my pleasure now to introduce this year's Young Alumni Award recipient. After graduating from MK in 2013, Rob Pannullo found himself at Cornell University, where he majored in industrial and labor relations and was a tri-sport athlete in sprint, football, and baseball. Way to show off, Rob. Upon graduation, his journey took us through Fordham Law School, where he graduated in 2020. Today, Rob is a sports litigator at the global firm of Weston & Strawn, LLP. There, he represents athletes, agencies, players' associations, and other high-profile sports industry clients. His focus being in litigation and arbitration. Before joining Winston & Strawn, Rob worked at the MLBPA, the Players Association, where he advised agents in contract negotiations and argued salary arbitration cases on behalf of various players. Hopefully he can do something about the current cap rules. Because of his efforts, Rob has been recognized by the Sports Business Journal as one of the leading new voices in the rising generation of sports business leaders. Longtime physical education instructor and former varsity head baseball coach Ralph Pacifico said of Rob, "Few players have the amazing leadership qualities, and Rob Pannullo is one of those individuals. His work ethic and practice approach translate to the outstanding academic and athletic career he has had. I am very proud of what Robert has accomplished so far in his early career, and I know he is destined for many more outstanding accomplishments. Personally, I cannot wait to see what Rob does next. He is an unbelievably altruistic and passionate leader and is a great example of what being an active and involved young alum is all about. It is my joy to present the 2025 Young Alumni Award to Robert Pannullo. Congratulations, Rob.
Thank you, Stu. Can you hear me on here? Gretchen, am I okay? Thank you. Thank you, Nigel, and to the Alumni Association. And Jim, congratulations very sincerely to you as well. It's an honor to be up here, even if remotely, with you. In particular, Gretchen and Madison, thank you guys so much from the bottom of my heart, for a lot, but for the engagement with the alums, for continuing to make MKA a place of family and comfort, here now for well over a decade after we've graduated. It seems like, yesterday that I was roaming the halls senior year, and Gretchen, you talked to us about how the Alumni Association and MKA would be there for us long into the future. And you hear that as a senior, and you kind of maybe brush it off and say, sure, but you have your sights set on different things. But it was true immediately when we entered into college just a few months later, and we had MKA care packages waiting for us immediately. It's the way you guys always held us close and continue to do so through bar nights, reunions, and hosting us in various ways is, I really think it's one of one. I share my experiences with friends, both from college, high school, otherwise, and realize that MKA is really one of one in that regard. And it's continued to be that way, and in a way that I'll, explain a little bit more about what it means to me here kind of tonight in receiving the Young Alumni Award. But I candidly have to say that if the ceremony was 2 weeks ago, what I'd be saying is entirely different than what I'll kind of be spending my few minutes on tonight. My life has kind of changed in a few indescribable ways, in indescribably challenging ways at that, over the last 2 weeks, and has really shaped my perspective in a way that I'm not sure I could have appreciated just a couple weeks ago. I think 2 weeks ago, and if you were asking me to prepare some words for tonight, I'd talk about my professional accomplishments, and which I think are part of why I've received this award. And yes, I'm proud to have, been an advocate for professional athletes who are far better than I was ever and ever could have been. I'm, honored to have been Aaron Judge's lawyer during, or one of them during a contract dispute he had with the Yankees, to have prepared MVP NFL quarterbacks to testify in legal proceedings, to have participated in litigation related to the changing landscape of college athletics right now. I'm grateful to have carved out a career in doing what I'm, really passionate about. And it all started at MKA in the incredible teachers and coaches, and in particular, Coach P, who I'm really grateful for the words that he shared tonight, all along the way. I think I'm very fortunate to say that my junior thesis paper, which was on Curt Flood and the start of the MLB Players Union, has turned out to be directly related to what I ended up majoring in college in and what I currently work in each day. The education opportunities that MK afforded us are really extraordinary. And I think in the moment you maybe take it for granted, but upon reflecting on it, we're extremely grateful for them. But amid my last 2 weeks, these professional accomplishments really feel insignificant because what I've really harnessed on and realized most is that family and friends are really what matters more than anything, and how precious that is. And that includes MKA. I'm incredibly thankful to know how close MKA and the community is and has been to me during those hard times. And first, it's again a difficult personal thing to be sharing. But last week, nearly 8 months into my wife's pregnancy, my wife and I suffered the unexpected loss of our son Robbie, who was born stillborn. It's been a devastating loss to us. We were extremely excited to start and embark on kind of the next chapter that we had been preparing for over the last several months. And during all of that, to see how MK has been for us through it, not just amid the loss, but even during Nicole's pregnancy, MKA, Gretchen and Madison had sent an MK onesie to us. It meant a lot. And following the loss, receiving like a comfort food shipping to our apartment, even during those low times, having you guys with us. I'm not sure you necessarily saw it, Gretchen, but inside that package, there was a quote from the company that this gift had been from, and it resonated pretty well. It said, "People will forget what you said, they'll forget what you did, but they'll never forget how you made them feel." And for me, in that moment, I won't soon forget it. And to the extent that hardship hasn't been difficult enough, Stu, I really appreciate the moment of silence earlier. Todd Marisi, MK lifer, class of 2013, my year. One of my closest friends at MKA, who unexpectedly passed away this week, and even amid his passing is really carrying on and living on in 8 other people whose organs he's donating his organs to, and really will be their hero forever. We were friends for 20 years. I did my visit for a day with Todd. We played football together. We had countless memories. When I'd take things too seriously, as I tend to do, he always made sure I laughed along the way. The outpouring of love and support from MKA in the wake of that as well, again, is what really makes this school and community so special. I know how much it means to Todd's family, how much it would mean to Todd. So, amid all of this and these hardships, I'm really thankful for the award, but I'm really thankful more for the school and for the people and for the way you all make us feel as alums, and proud alums at that. I'm proud of the lifelong family and friendships that I've built through MKA, and above all, in this moment, I'm thankful to my siblings, all of whom also went to MKA at some point. Joe, Rich, and Stephen. Joe and Rich graduated 3 years above and below me, respectively, and Stephen finished up middle school and is now at Del Barton, and they wouldn't have done anything for me. I'm incredibly thankful to Mom and Dad, who have invested so much into each of our educations, and it's really demonstrated so powerfully through the actions of driving us the long hours, the dollars, because MK is not getting cheaper, and and everything along the way through that. And most of all to my wife, Nicole, who, has really been the strongest person that I know, who knows me better than I know myself, and who nothing I do, frankly, and have done would be possible without. So with that, I just want to say thank you again for this award, and I'm really proud to be an MK alum today.
Thank you, Rob, so much. That was so inspiring and also so emotional. I feel like that's been the theme of this event this evening. On behalf of Mockler Kimberly Academy, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight and being with us, and most especially to Jim and Rob for sharing their stories, their reflections, their wisdom, their experiences that they had both in school and what they're going through now. I think tonight has surely been a wonderful reminder of what makes this community so special, and why we all feel so thankful to be a part of it. The passion, the purpose, but also the impact that we have on each other, and that certainly the both of you have on the world beyond MKA. To Jim and Rob, I want to congratulate you once again on this well-deserved honor. You represent the very best of what it means to be a graduate from MKA, and we are so proud to celebrate you this evening. Thank you again, all of you, for coming, for all of your support. And thank you, Jim and Rob, for your spirit and being for such an incredible part of the MK community. We're so thankful, and it has been an honor to celebrate you the way that you deserve. Thank you. Thank you all so much.